Good afternoon, guys. This is Samuel Lombardo, the Executive Director and CEO of SL Models and Talent Agency, as well as the Executive Director and owner of V-Smart, the Vocational School of Models, Artists, and Radiant Talent. And I wanted to do a special video for those of you whom I may have misinterpreted myself in the past. Now, when I say in the past, I'm talking about 2 to 3 years ago. I have spoken with many individuals about the process of me wanting to start a modeling and talent agency. I was in the gears for it. Then there were family issues that were happening. I'm not going to tell you the whole entire story. Finally, I was able to land a silent partner who helped to invest in the process of opening the modeling agency, And so ever since November of 2019, the company was registered September of 2019, but ever since November 2019, we have been in existence under the LLC legislation of Grand Rapids, Michigan, so in the state of Michigan. Now, I have a home office here as well in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and we think that in the next month or two, we will actually expand as a foreign LLC to the state of Tennessee. And that will be happening again, like I said, within the next month. We are in collaboration with 2 other agencies, and as a matter of fact, even aside from those 2 agencies, we are getting other agencies that are starting to see this, and they want to collab with me as well. I've had I have now a few clients who email me on the presence of, like, with all these collaborations, many people are starting to ask for talent. Now, let me first start with this. One is the collaborations have just began. So the right paperwork that is needed for SL Models and Talent Agency must be approved first. Now, we are very, very careful as to how we go with the trustworthiness of our company. Now, when it comes to the third-party agreement, meaning the agency to agency, we have to come to terms what their contract is going to look like, which means, will they accept payment from the artist? There's 3 ways that it could be done. They can either accept payment from the artist and or model, and what would have to happen is I would have to have the arrangement with that model and or artist, or the third party could also do that as well. But they would have to exclude that there is no regulation or no responsibility coming from SL Models and Talent Agency LLC in regards to outside of booking. So in other words, let's say that you're an agency that has education built into it, so that you could still be sure that your models are still part of your agreement. 9 times out of 10, the most appropriate agreement would be that either you have something set up with your artist already, and then there is a copy to the third-party agency, But then I'm going to give you a 2-page disclaimer that's going to say that we have no responsibility on the payments outside of the 20% agency fee that we have for the actual bookings. Why? Because in all fairness, you may actually be the one to educate and train the artist, but the booking is going to be coming from this other agency. That's why I always say right from the beginning that you either need to take the booking agency out of the business plan or make it 2 separate businesses, because education is not the same as booking, especially if you don't want anything to do with booking. If you don't want anything to do with booking, then you want to reformat how you're actually going to make it happen. Now, in this case, it could be as simple as just stating that the contracts now, the booking contracts now are, well, we'll just use me as an example since I'm an actual booking agency. If you're looking for a booking agency that will do all the booking and can actually help to collaborate and bring more dollars and cents like to your company, as well as to me to have pro models prepared and already ready to go out, that there will actually be just simply you shifting the responsibility over. So in other words, you could have, like, let's say that it was something like this. Let's say that it was All Stars Modeling Agency. And All Stars Modeling Agency was really just all about making you a pro model, and perhaps maybe even a pro talent for what you do, if you like to dance, sing, or whatever the case may be. What actually really happens with that is, and it gets a little tricky too for a lot of people that are reading into this deeply. If you get like a booking or 2 per year, and it's not really keeping you busy, and you can actually tell too, because if you're watching what they're doing, you can see whether or not they're actually doing something, or if it's just being plastered, like say a selfie or something like that. In other words, you would have to constantly be making things up to make it look like they're actually doing something. Otherwise, what actual client is actually booking the person to where you can actually show, you know what I mean? That kind of a scenario. So All Stars starts realizing, well, we are an All Stars education program. We're not a booking agency, because we're not technically booking, even though that some clients may come and ask to collab with us. So it's not the same thing as actually booking, like actually going out there and sending off contracts from an agency to a client and saying, you know, here are the details of the agent. Like me, I tell them, take a moment, read this, let me know if you have any questions, and then, you know, they let me know yay or nay, and if it is nay, the reasons why. And most of the time, if it is, it's because of the roster issue. But for the most part, you know, excuse me. For the most part, there are a lot of yeses coming in with the possibility of waiting to see what this roster is going to look like, because they want to give the opportunity. The opportunity is actually bigger than the word possibility. Why? Because the possibility, possible in the true meaning of the word, is really, it's possible it could go this way, it's possible it could go that way. It's a particle to one way or the other, whereas the opportunity is stating that when they are saying yes to the opportunity, what they're saying is that if you got something and we're looking for it, then there's the possibility that we could be seeking that person. So the opportunity is there. I have the opportunities, but the possibilities is going to be endless because it really just depends on what they are looking for. And if I have the right type of talent for what they are looking for, then by all means, that will happen. So that's why I'm saying that you want to be careful how you're running the agency. Now, there is a such thing as a collaboration. I do my third parties, and usually my third party agreements when it comes to like anything to do with, now, we don't really have third parties here at SL Models and Talent Agency LLC, and the reason for that is because our school that we're forming is literally going to do all that work, so it's already a whole separate thing. There's no reason to sit there and be like, all right, I need to look for an agency to be able to book talent, you know, because the school's already doing the work. So in this regard, you want to take your strengths where you are and make the reality of what it is that you want to do as a business owner. And then from there, your business plan and your platforms will show forth in that appropriation of how it's going to look. All right. So anytime that I do have third-party agreements, it's because there are agencies that have the education realms within the agency. Why? Because I understand the competition within the industry, and I also know a lot of people that are sitting there trying to say, oh no, this agency, all they want to do is just scam them or whatever. So what I do, really my third party agreement is really to settle the scores of what an agency really is doing, because that is what we are about. We are about the booking, presentation, etc. So we take what you have worked so hard to do, and we try to make it a reality. We give them the opportunity, and then it's really just about the possibilities of those artists or models going out there. So we're not actually really the middleman. The middleman is the ones that are going to actually be the ones educating, and that's usually how it always goes. Think about that. So I want you to think about this real quick, okay? So you're a student, you're in high school, right? You are your own person. When you're 18, you decide what you want to do, right? So then you go to college. Now, some other people might disagree with this and say, no, the college is not the middleman, but I'm going to be very honest. The job isn't. The job is what you want. You want to get the job. If you want to be a manager for some corporation or something, and you actually have the education, that manager at that job ain't going to sit there and train you. They don't have the time to do it. They will train you on some basic things like maybe OSHA law or whatever, like how that company runs. But beyond that, you better know the anatomy of how a warehouse works, or how a doctor's office works, or how an entertainment booking agency works, or whatever. So who is actually the middleman in this perspective? It's not you, because you're the one that can say, I'm going to go it like this, or I'm going to do it like that. Either way, whatever way you're going, that is the middle person. Okay? So in other words, the education is the middle line between you actually expanding your horizons and you actually getting the reality of where you want to go. Now, some folks, when it comes to the entertainment industry, they have a way, they consider it like it's who you know, not what you know, type of ordeal in this industry, and that is, to an extent at this point, I would say that it's still agreeable, but it's not so much so. Because now what I'm realizing, which is another thing that I'm really looking to killing off, is the ego. But this video that I want to do right now is really about a plea to those who I have spoken to 2 to 3 years ago. And you guys know exactly who I'm talking about. We have been very, very good friends for some time. And there was a level of trust, and then that level of trust kind of dwindled. And yeah, there might have been some ego within me as well. I'm not going to deny that one way or the other. But the agency is becoming a reality. Not just because I'm posting up YouTube videos hoping for subscribers. No. What I'm actually really doing is I'm showing you guys, and there's going to be so much more proof out there. I'm showing you guys that I am a person that you can work with, and that this is actually being real. Alright? Now, for some of you, it may just be that you want to wait until you see that I could actually prove that I can do some bookings. That is perfectly fine as well. I have people that I am working with that has given me some very good upfront talent that is ready to go, and it's just a matter of the right agencies doing it. I'm going to be looking at casting agencies, casting directors, producers, film directors, advertising agencies, magazine creators, fashion designers, etc. I'm going to be researching all of it, including partnering even with other agencies like IMG Models and Ford Models, etc. Because I want to be able to get more of an actual broad sense of the industry and what there can actually be. Now, if I was to have a third party, I'm usually just going with the simple contract of 50-50. But you actually have to be a well-established agency, meaning if it's going to be where I'm booking a lot of talent from, say, IMG, I know that IMG isn't just looking, for words of their talent. They actually have talent, and they're there and ready to go. So that would be a 50-50 ordeal. But if it's other agencies that are also just getting started, or that they don't have much of a roster just like me, and we're just kind of, see, me on the other hand, I'm working on picking out the talent, running it, going to conventions, going to showcases and all that, and collaborating. So I see it right from the beginning. That actually helps me to work it out, um, where I can send potential talent and potential models that are out there within these other agencies. So, and then it also brands, it helps the establishment of these new agencies as well. So I'm not saying that I couldn't work with agencies. What I'm saying is that um, you want to be sure that your agency is running as an agency, that you are looking to do it in a way where it's not that you're doing one thing and you expect, in other words, the intentions. The ego's got to come out and the intentions got to be clear. You have to be transparent. Are you doing this so that you can provide more of a horizon for your artists and models that you have trained up? Or are you doing this in a way where it's kind of like a shortcut for to knock off some responsibilities? Because I have to be extremely careful about who I actually work for. And that if I'm going to trust, say, All Stars Agency to give me their talent and models, and half of them can't even be on time, and then I start getting record, oh, well, I see why this is happening. Yeah, we had a problem with them. It really hurts the reputation that SL Models and Talent Agency LLC is trying to achieve. So I am actually pleading to both all agencies, we can work with your pro talent, we can work with any type of an agreement, but we also, I want to be very serious that that the situation must be real. And so that's why I congratulate Cameo Models International LLC there in Richmond, Virginia, because she is showing real results. It's not a company that is made pretend and just trying to look for the shortcut, is what I'm saying. Because there are those who will focus on sale pitches and send them out to conventions and hope that the agencies just work for them, kill off all the nuts and bolts of this other portion. And it can get very, very, very sticky when it comes to artists that are non-exclusive, because by law, in entertainment law, once you are working out of the third, you don't have a fourth, so something gets canceled out, and guess what it is? It's usually the first thing involved. Let me give you an example. Let's say that I am an agency that has a school in it, right? And I'm training singers to become very high professional singers. Now, I could work a deal out where we can start a production shop, but a production shop isn't the agency. It is actually it would be the production company. But if my agency cannot get that artist a signed contract with a producer, and then I decide, well, I'm going to send them, say, to All Stars Agency, then what happens is All Stars Agency says, okay, we have establishment with Sony Records. So now there's a third party agreement between SLMTA and All Stars Agency that is going to work it out with the production company. But let's say that All Stars Agency gets a collaboration with, say, another agency who wants to bring them to, say, Disney Records, then SLMTA actually gets shut out. Why? Because SLMTA at this point, it's almost as if, yeah, SLMTA started the process to where they can actually get booked with other agencies, but that's what all the artists is going to see it as. And yeah, they will be thankful for it. But it wouldn't be the same as me saying I have the opportunities there and that it was me that did it. There is no agreement. Like, the producers don't even know who SLMTA is because there is no real agreement outside of the agreement between the artist and the agency. Do you see what I'm getting at? So SL Models and Talent Agency, believe it or not, is what I call the end game. In other words, if you're going to be doing a third-party agreement, we do have non-exclusive agreements, but they are with those who are within the agency already. Meaning that we have our own roster and they are doing non-exclusives. But we are exclusive to the talent and models that we are working with other agencies. Why? Because we're trying to kill off the nuts and bolts of too many heads in one spot, when the reality is the artist and the model is just trying to get themselves established in the work that they do, that what they've been trained to do. So in other words, it does almost become a conflict of interest. Let's say now there's 14 people within, I don't know, All Stars Agency that goes to a convention in Miami every year, and they're signed by this company and this company and that company and this and that. What we are basically trying to do as SL Models and Talent Agency is saying the reality game is over. And this is going to be probably the biggest collaboration yet. But between 3 companies, now one I'm still waiting to meet up with. I don't know what is happening with that scenario, but the one collaboration has happened. And now I'm just basically waiting to figure out I'm waiting to figure out the details of the third party, but it really isn't really about third party in this regard. It's more or less understanding the reality of the collaboration. But SL Models and Talent Agency LLC, I want to, and this is probably why a certain convention really doesn't want to see me, and they look at it as territories. Why? Because they know that the end game of SL Models and Talent Agency LLC is to really knock out the loose ends and start building it up from scratch, because we are getting too many people who are running schools in their agencies and claiming them to be agencies. And that is actually, believe it or not, under entertainment law, illegal to do. There is nothing in there that says that you can go ahead and keep claiming monies from models and artists that you have trained, unless you are actually a booking agency, but you need to have a different license. Now, the one state that has this very clear, well, two of them that I know of for sure, is New Jersey and California, which is why Pennsylvania has a lot of scam artists in it. New York seems to be having it going on. Delaware, it just keeps going and going and going in some of these states. Why? Because they can get away with it. Like, oh, we're training you, you're going to go to a convention, and then you'll be able to find 50 different agencies that could work with you. And which is why the biggest conflict of interest with the unions when you want to become a union signatory is that you have to get rid of upfront costs. Why? Because of this very simple reason. So, if you want to do it right, there is nothing wrong with you training up artists and models. Where it gets sticky is that you're actually breaking the federal law and possibly even your state and local law when it comes to how an agency is supposed to work. Now, how New Jersey has it, if you're going to be a school, you got to be licensed to be a school. If you're going to be a booking agency, you have to be licensed. And these are done, well, vocational school could be done under regulated business, but so can the booking agency be done under a regulated business. But you also have to be bonded and have the state of New Jersey as the thing. You got to have your bonds for the artists and models that you're working for. They have very strict regulations in the state of New Jersey. I'm just giving you a few of them. But the federal law relating to, say, entertainment law as a combo is that there is no rights in there whatsoever that state that you can take any kind of money from an artist, whether they are being booked from a collaboration or not. Because you are basically, you're training them. You have already made, your money is being made by education. And therefore, and I will state this, I'm going to be very upfront with you. If this were to take place with anybody that I am working with, it will be, number one, reported to the feds because it is illegal. And I cannot work with anybody at all that is going to break federal law, let alone the state and local law, and therefore it could be reported to your state general, attorney general, or perhaps someplace relating to, regulated business. And the conventions, it goes right back to the conventions. Really, they should be nonprofit conventions. And the conventions itself should have a program set aside for signatories, which would actually be the prospective clients. If you have 50 agencies, like booking agencies, sitting there trying to get the same 6 artists walking on that stage, at some point, by the legality of federal law in the entertainment industry, how are you going to be able to get 50 agencies to agree with one another about the same thing with one artist or model that would like to have the booking? In other words, what I'm getting at is none of this makes sense, and you gotta make your convention make sense to the legalities of the law. The most embarrassing thing that has ever happened in my past was when I actually did get ripped off by an agency who told me to go to a convention. This was about 7 years ago. I'm not going to mention the agency's name. This was 7 years ago or so. This was like, and it had to do with Pennsylvania or whatnot. And I would go to the convention, but you know what? The reason that we would not even communicate anymore is because I went ahead and called the police right in the middle of the convention. Because while I was sitting there doing what I was doing, I also realized I was researching the different companies that were there. And half of them I did not even realize that they were starting anything, let alone if they had an agency. So I knew that this was actually illegit. So I ended up actually reporting it, and I've actually called the police stating that this is, you know, and I ended up disputing the charge for a bank chargeback because and stated that this is literally nothing that it was. It's not a good thing to sit there and actually try to, and this is a real scam that has been going on. The other scam that's going on is the horrendous fees. Oh my God. There are conventions out there that are upwards to $10,000 to $20,000. Per person to go for this week thing. I mean, I have tuition rates that are $12,000, but it includes, let's see, full-time classes, professional instructors who are designed to know their work or whatnot, but it includes the travel in case for any practicums, it includes interview times, it includes training on primary and secondary like instruments if we're talking about music or whatever. I mean, it includes the whole entire package, including a particular convention of which is the only one that seems to be really working with the collaboration between the 3 collaborations that I have right now. And I believe that if they follow my instruction, that they will actually make sense for what they are doing. Now, I don't think that there should actually be any bills to agencies that are looking for talent. I think that the bills should be on the schools who are sending them out to the conventions. So if the convention does have a set fee for it, okay, then the fee would be set on the, first of all, how much a person is going to charge is not the responsibility of the convention. It should be that you hire the person who wants to do that training in the convention. So if they're coming with the ego of, oh, no, I normally charge $1,500, that's what it's going to be, and then you got to jack the price of the convention to $4,000 just because, then you need to work with somebody that is willing to work with you. And you need to be transparent about how much it's going to cost. But the real reality is, especially if you're a nonprofit, is if you only have a 1 year around convention and it does last for a week, then focus more on your sponsorships and your donors. Get memberships. And I don't mean memberships as in you're asking for agencies to do this, this, or this. No. As a matter of fact, what you should be having there are agencies that are picking the talent, and there should be regulation about how it works. Because there's still that legal fine line. And that is that you cannot have 14 agencies trying to go after one artist. Even if it was non-exclusive, it only goes to a third. There's no quadruple agreement. There's a third-party agreement. That's why that is essential. So you end up having a lot of people that are going to be turning against the real folks. And you also need to figure out if the agencies are actually coherent with the law. So what you do is, as a nonprofit agency is, or a convention, is you come up with your memberships, get your signatories like advertising agencies, casting directors, like those people. They could collaborate and actually give you the money to bring the people in. And that's a real convention. Why? Because now you got the sponsorships to the convention. You have real industry people, Oscar-winning individuals, whatever the case may be, sitting there at that convention, and they are paying for these artists. They don't have to pay no more money out of pocket to go and do that. So you're making the money to do it. You have a year to do it. Especially, or even if it's semi-annually. Now you're doing conventions twice a year. And if you need to make a little bit of money, then you can also ask the artist to join as a membership to the convention, but that has nothing to do with, okay, that's like me being an agency. Any singer that wants to be a professional singer and wants to join the Grammy, just because the agency is a member of the Grammys does not necessarily mean that you have to join the Grammys. But we have an opportunity where you as a professional want to join the Grammys, you can. But I'm not taking the fee the Grammys is. I'm just letting you know that you can become a member of the Grammys. So it's a whole separate situation. So you can actually ask students within these colleges or universities or whatever to be members of the convention as if that was like a starting point of a new union revival going on. And you don't have no upfront cost. So your only front costs would actually be the membership to actually join the convention, and that is their fee. This bull crap nonsense of $9,000 to actually go to a convention is ridiculous. You got to get out of your ego. And first of all, we're in a day and age today, and thank you, Cameo Model, is for even understanding this, but there are agencies out there that do not understand this. We are in COVID-19, and sorry, YouTube, that I'm mentioning that word, but it is true. And due to that, things have to happen in a different way. It's a different norm. So your fees are not going to be the same. Your instructions not going to be the same. Cameo Models knew that right off the top. It took a little bit to be able to do some tweaking, but she knew it right away, instantly. There is no way that you're going to be able, unless you actually have something literally tangible that is going to show these folks that is worth $9,000, $20,000 to go to that convention. And until you get it right, you're going to keep having people constantly saying, I don't know how it is that these conventions say that they've been around so long. And it was able to get away with that, or get away with the fact that it is scamming people out of money. I mean, there's one particular convention out there that is more than your tuition for a whole year in the university. That is ridiculous. I'm being very transparent that And here's why people are actually scared of someone like me, okay? I have been studying this industry for 15 years, all right? I made it past my doctorate degree, and I'm still going to school to be certified in certain areas. I'm learning of different programs that I want to get into to even help me expand even more, because you know, you never know like what you could be learning. And I can remember one of my university's instructors, like, this is like back in Rider University, explaining to simplify. Now, of course, these videos don't seem so simplistic. And that is because I'm being transparent about exactly how this industry works. And that if you want to talk about a scam artist, then look at the real scams going on that are actually against the law. I'm giving you everything about the legalities. I actually remember, and I wish that I could even bring her name up, but she was a very wonderful classmate that I am realizing that she has earned her degree in entertainment law and is actually working, or has worked, should I say, because there are some conflicts of interest going on with the you know, with different record companies. I'm actually being transparent while being careful of letting names out. And I applaud her for it, because in all honesty, if this wasn't going to work out for me, I was literally going to be an entertainment lawyer. I was literally going to go down that route. And actually, I'm to that point where I am looking at being certified, because I want to help agencies out there that are actually really doing the real fine work. So that's why I was mentioning about I'm still in education. What I mean by that is that I'm actually pursuing, and I plan to pursue, to continue my education in entertainment law while actually sitting here and booking and getting the real talent out there. So anything that you hear from me is not going to be fake news. It's going to be real. And if you think that you're going to be able to cross me by trying to scam me into things, then think again. Work with somebody else that doesn't know it. I don't have the time to be sitting here and trying to figure out how I can just override the law. Now, there is a difference between what is law and what a union wants as well. But most of the time, the union wants to do what is accordance to the law, or they try to amend what the law is. And one of these cases happens to be where there's upfront costs with agencies. And they will not work with agencies if they have them. Now, that really depends. I'm going to be very fair and honest here, and excuse me a minute, my throat is dry. That is really going to depend on the intentions of the agency, but if the agency is actually doing what it's supposed to be doing, and that is booking, then what would it even matter? Think about it. Think about me charging for a portfolio shoot, right? So that I could be able to help my local artists, and I'm training them up, okay? Nobody is going to sit there, you know, that's why we have this problem with not only conflict of interest, but the competition in the industry. Why? Well, let me explain this. There are people that are just flat out getting union contracts within their agencies, and yes, this is true. And when I say union contracts, I'm not talking about that they can be in the union, but that they are getting roles that otherwise union contract employees could get. And now they're trying to stricken that up, when the reality is these are people working very, very hard to get where they're even at. So I'm not just going to pick on the conventions. I'm also going to say that there should be a reasonable doubt of what is happening with agencies that are actually building up their talent and really want them to expand in their way. Now, I understand that, and again, half of my video was all about knowing what a scam is versus a true agency. Now, a true agency, according to according to the union, would be anybody that is a signatory of the union. But guess what? In order for you to become one of those pro stars, you would literally have to prove that you are actually ready, and there couldn't be any real actual, but like in other words, they become your agent. It becomes exclusive. So what is SLMTA? Signatories then. We are basically the end game. We are basically saying, okay, we could see the difference between a scamming agency and a non-scamming agency, even if they do have upfront costs. And here is why. First of all, no real agency is going to turn around and try to say that we got an Emmy award-winning blah, 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 and then you go there and you research the name and you find out that that person has never been to the Emmys, let alone getting a reward or an award. Yes, this video is going to be kind of long because I'm trying to get you to understand that there are agencies out there that are doing that. And I believe, and I'm going to have it linked here again, that there is an article right from the Consumer Affairs that states what scamming agencies are and what you need to do to look into what happened and how to report them. And I'm going to actually do a video on how you can report a scamming agency because it is against the law. Now, reporting a scamming agency could be a little bit tricky too, because you also are going to have to find in your own intentions how to prove whatever it is that your claim is on the scam. For example, you know, I charged a starting rate of $350, but it includes a hairstylist, it includes the photographer, it includes 2 changes, you know, and it's for a whole hour with one person at a time to do their portfolio shoot. But we flat out say that that does not guarantee you anything for bookings. Why? Because the goal isn't about booking, it's about providing a portfolio. It's about developing the portfolio status so that you have something to be able to give to agencies or whatnot. In other words, it don't even guarantee that you would be signed by us. We're not guaranteeing anything. We're just offering at that point in time, and yes, there's an upfront cost, a portfolio shoot. That's not a scam. A scam would actually be that, like this. It will be right in the agreement. It will be drafted right in the agreement. You will see it in there. It will say that there are 5 phases of what you got to do. Believe me, I've been in these agreements before, so I know what I'm talking about. And they are one heck of a scam. It is the broadest way. I mean, I even took it to the courts, and they could see illegal all over it. With a prosecutor specifically looking at it. And so one of the hints of a scam contract would basically be this. There's 5 phases. You're going to have an interview with me. You're going to have to get a portfolio done. Oh, wait a minute. I have to get a portfolio done to get signed with you? I have to use your photographer to get signed with you? Really? That's interesting. And then it even goes further. And then you are going to learn everything about, and in fine print it will state what the charges are about that, and then your online database, and then in fine print another charge will show that, And then it'll say finally, then you are signed. You are ready to go and you will be the artist you want to be. So what you basically did is you signed yourself into 4 bills. You signed yourself into, first of all, getting consultation. You signed yourself into forcefully dealing with a photographer that you don't know about. Okay. Then you signed yourself into education that, don't get me wrong, if the education is good enough, then it could be automatically its own business. But it's stuck in a contract guaranteeing you the next step, which is another financial thing that you got to do. And what is that? Sitting there on a computer uploading all the information, and now you got to pay a monthly fee for that. But hopefully somebody's going to come along and say, yeah, you're the one. See, we're tired of this. That's what SL Models and Talent Agency is doing. We are the end game. We are tired of it to the point that we want to save all people that are dealing with these scams. Yes, we have upfront costs. I'm not going to lie. We have upfront costs, but it doesn't guarantee you nothing. It don't even guarantee you that you're going to be signed by us, let alone have an agreement with any agency out there. Why is that? Because there is no way that you can guarantee anything. The words possibility, opportunity, they are the words that really are precise to what this industry is about. I can't sit here and guarantee you that next week you might get into some, film with Tom Cruise or whatever. There is no guarantee. I can't guarantee you that you're going to be up there on the stage singing backup with Swift. Just because you think that you're a better singer. There's no guarantee in any of this in this industry. It really is competitive. It really is. Business-wise, it really needs to be about collaboration rather than competition. Why? Because bad enough that your talent is already competing against themselves for these jobs. There is no such thing as, oh, I have the territory of the Southeast and that my modeling agency, blah, blah, blah. No, that doesn't make no sense. So modeling agencies are going to get set up regardless, and you have no say on it. You could try to use whatever legality garbage you want to use to turn around and try to falsify somebody else from doing something that is great for the community. But it will not play with me. So it is extremely, extremely important that contracts that guarantee things or spell out that you have to pay a bill to be signed in any way. I don't care if it wasn't but by mistake. It's a mistake you don't want to be in. Change those contracts. If your platform of business is actually focused on that, then maybe what you need to do is recreate your format into more of an education. Another thing that I am pleading for you guys on is you got to get rid of the ego. The only way you can be able to collaborate correctly is if you're using something that will make some sense. For example, I don't know why I don't have many people going to this showcase. Well, we got a few things to talk about here. One is, where do you think COVID-19 is going to be at in response to this? Will it be worth what it's going to be? In other words, and you know, there's nothing wrong of how it's set up. I'm just gonna make it. I'm gonna make it very, very short and very sweet here. Let's say that you're saying it's going to cost $3,000, right, up front to go to a convention. That's going to be your big showcase, right? And you expect that 4,000 people will show up and fill up that place, that convention center. And you only see 500. Now, let's say it costs $350 to apply, but it doesn't include what it is to get there. That's a different story. To be able to set up an application fee, and as a matter of fact, even if you were able to set up the membership, just like it was with Grammys, it's the same way with the Grammy. When I'm a member of the Grammys, okay, both on a personal level as well as professionally with my company. And how it goes is I'm paying a one-time fee for the membership, but at the same time, when it comes to the convention or the red carpet, you know, the Grammy show that you see live on television even, it can be anywhere between $150 for like the back corner balcony seat up on the top, like 19th floor. You know, I'm exaggerating, but you get what I'm getting at. To $5,000 to sit up front, right in front of like the host's face. But you still got to figure out how you're going to get there. That's a legitimate convention. Like the award ceremonies and things that are going on. If you want something beautiful like that, that's what you want to do. You want to be able, I think the best way to do it, especially since since some of these conventions are nonprofit, what I would suggest doing is really getting the sponsors out there. So if you're looking at advertising agencies like Macy's, JCPenney's, or, you know, Vogue, etc., then call them up on the phone and tell them, hey, get your butt down here to Miami or wherever it's going to be at, and be like, we have artists. In the meantime, you're making a monthly payment. The artists are making monthly payments of like, what, $25? So, well, you get more artists joining a membership for a lower fee, making more money and getting your sponsorships than you do sitting there working out $3,000 for a one-time payment. Do you see where this is going? You actually have a better benefit. I know it sounds stupid in the math of it. It's not. I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So what I would be suggesting for most convention centers out there, or not the convention centers, excuse me, but convention, these folks that say that they're big in their entertainment industry or whatnot, I would stop focusing on where you're going to get profit and understand that if you want something even more and it is on a continuous basis, then nonprofit is the way to go. And if you want to be nonprofit making a profit, then instead of doing a 501c3, you did a 501c6, because it gives you a little bit of a leadway as to what is happening with your monies, but you can always send them back into the business. Whereas 501c3, you're limited to a specific amount, percentages worth of what profit could still sit in there. But there are still ways of playing around with that too, because you could always adjust it to the point that it's, well, we have it every year, so it continues on. It's a process. There are some nonprofits where they start them and then they end maybe in a year or two. So that's why, they get the approval to get it, and it could take up to 6 months to get the nonprofit status. So what I'm trying to get at is there are much easier, better, less confrontational ways of doing things, and I want the people to believe in me that I'm not sitting here just trying to show my face on a YouTube channel, spilling out lies. So I am here, at least within the entertainment industry, I am here to work for you guys. Even the new faces that do not have experience. And we also understand that people have a choice as to what they want to do. And therefore, now this is going to sound a little cheesy when it comes to colleges and universities, but we have a very good hands-on vocational school that we're forming. It is more than what a convention center is, but you're going to learn a lot, and you can still go to the convention. And it is less than if you were to just go ahead and focus yourself on, say, earning a degree in business, where you can actually study and have fun here at the Vocational School of the Arts. So we're kind of in the middle ground in the way of pricing. Some programs, some really difficult programs, or like Community Stars or our honorable program, certificate-wise, they can literally go up to near $20,000 within a 6-month period. But in that 6 months, you're going to be doing all kinds of practical work. You're going to be dealing with a lot of lab work. You're going to be like hands-on. It's not just going to be sitting there. Yes, you will have to take classes and exams, and you will also have to perform a live recital. And guess what? Not only are you do the performance of the live recitals, but they will be live streamed, which means that most likely more than just a handful showing up from the school is going to be watching it. You're going to be seeing it on YouTube, on the live stream channels, etc. All that's going to be taking place. So it's a big, big, big thing. It's like any other school that's online. except that there are some things that will have to take place face to face, you know. Classes will be done online, labs could be done online, practicum will be done face to face with the agencies or what have you that may need help. Now, let's explain that part real quick. Are you responsible for the travels to these practicums? And the answer is no. If the agencies want our students' help, then they have to know how to pay for the housing, and they are going to have to know how to pay for you to get there during the time of the practical. So it would be up to them what they want to establish in the agreement. But you do, once that agreement is established, then, you know, you do end up getting the credit for that. And they do score you accordingly, so I would be able to give, or the school would be able to give you the appropriate grade for that particular practicum. But it is very, very, it's a very, very rigorous program. It's not going to be easy. And that especially goes, now arts administration, you could be working for advertising agencies, you could be working for booking agencies, whatever the case may be. If you're a singer, your practicum could be that you are developing a band and you want to do your own project, or it could end up being that you join a project already established, or that you're doing your own thing. And then you end up with a booking agency that would be able to help you with that. So that could either be within the Career Center or whatever the case may be. But in 6 months, under an honors program, you're going to be doing about 8 practicums. You're going to have about 12 labs. And approximately 8 classes, give or take. 4 classes per trimester, which is 12 weeks. So there's not going to be much time for anything, and that's why we try to book things where you are actually getting paid, and that these agencies already know up front that they are responsible for taking care of your travel, housing, etc. while you're there. We do give you, I think we have, we do give you a housing allowance, but that's for your responsibility to eat while you're there, and if you want to do some leisure or whatnot. That's with the arts administration program, because we know that your practicums, now you would be doing 4, not 8. And they could last like 2 weeks at a time, or somewheres around there. So you could be a receptionist helping the agency. You could be whatever the case may be. But there are different ways that we can establish a relationship, an agreement for a contract like that when it comes to the school part. But anyway, I don't want to divert back to the school situation right now. I want to stay on topic, and that is that, and I'm pretty much done now. I just want you guys to understand that it is very, very, very important in how you establish yourself as an agency or as an educator or whatever the case may be, and knowing that the laws behind it are for you or they could be against you. And what I mean by that is how you're set up is going to be determining if you're being made to break or being made to fulfill. And you have to get that ego. I mean, I say that more than one time, but now I want to draw the attention not only to agencies that are out there that are stuck in their ways, but also artists and models that may be stuck in their ways. What I mean by that, I don't mean like I'm talking more about new faces who are actually used to the fact that people are saying they're beautiful or they have potential to be a model. So they probably think because of me being a nicer person, because I am usually nice and I have a very good personality about myself, that they think that they could take advantage of me, but I want to be very loud and very clear. That I know every single trick, and then I'm also going to be transparent. Sometimes I'm even as smart to play dumb so that I can see how far you're going to actually get into until you crack. In other words, do not play me down as something that is dumb. I've studied this industry for, again, 15 years. I'm finishing up even on my doctoral degree. There is no way, I mean, I speak with enrolled agents. When it comes to taxes, I speak to bank loan officers when it comes to money and how they evaluate money. I speak to entertainment lawyers when it comes to breaking the law. I speak to the union when it comes to what a real agency does versus what an agency does not do. I speak to educators so that the educators can educate me on what in fact is happening with the entertainment industry and why there is this so big exclusive rapport of conflict between unionized agencies and non-unionized agencies, and why it is that people are being paid cheap for their work because they cannot make, I've been here, I've been around. I'm not going to lie, you probably figured it out already by now. If you hadn't, well, now you know that there is a speech impairment, but I work around that because that doesn't stop me. And I think that sometimes in a way where I want to speak a lot and then sometimes I speak slowly, that some people think that, do I know what I'm talking about? And the real question is, do you know what you're thinking about? Because you can keep going the route that you're going. I had one try to tell me that, here goes one. I had one try to tell me that I can go and put my face in any photo and make it look so real. And I can make $3,000 just off of the photo. And I have blatantly stated to that individual, let me know who buys that photo for $3,000. I'm still waiting for an answer come 3 months later. Do not try to scam me and then try to go around saying that this is a scam and all of that. For an hour and a half here, I've been telling you guys exactly what a scam in an agency is and how it actually works and what you need to look for. Unions aren't so much worried about if someone is setting up a Photoshop and they're saying, you know, you can do photo shoots and you know, you're going to do a portfolio shoot, for example. It is when you actually dictate that in order to be signed, you got to do that. And you have to use my photographer to do it. And yes, there are all kinds of claims out there. Well, I have a system, and it's got to be like this, and it's got to be like that. Well, let me explain to you this. I have a system too. And the system goes like this. That if you want to keep putting out their photo shoots within your agency or education school or whatever you're trying to form there, then I have a hard time working with you because all I'm seeing is a person who sees the value of education, but where is the reality of the work besides all that glamour that I'm seeing like in photos and stuff like that? I'm real. And SL Models and Talent Agency LLC with our SLMTA signatory union that we are going to form, we are going to crush this just like that instantaneously. Those days are over. Now, is it okay to educate and train up new faces? Sure. I'm not saying nothing against that. I'm just saying that that's not a booking agency. That's all I'm saying. And therefore, by legal standards, nobody can force me into, well, you know, you took my models. You mean, okay, wait a minute. Hold up. I took your models? What do you mean by that? What do you mean that I took your models? See, that's why I like collaboration, because collaboration tells me that people really know the reality to the story. And they want to be honest to their pro talent. There are a couple of people, a couple of businesses at least that know it, because that's where we are at today. But there are other places that literally tell me, well, we are we are incorporated, and our team says no. And when I go and I tell them, well, you need to be reported, because what you're basically now, you know what they do now? This particular company that I'm talking about, that I'm not going to give the names about, they now have it where they will actually orient you into the agency and say that there is no cost to be signed, and then throw the sale pitch at you. that is still a scam. Because what you're basically saying is without the education, you're not going to be able to move forward in the company. And then after a year, the artist or the model ends up giving up. And they're totally confused. Believe me, I have talked to many models like that. I have a few that keep, when I'm trying to add them to my roster, they're like, well, am I going to get paid for my jobs? And I'm going to be like, well, what modeling did you do? I mean, unless you knew up front that it was pro bono, but what agency did you work for where you never gotten paid for any job? The only way you would not, there are some jobs that SLMTA has where you would, that it's pro bono is what we call it. That's the legal term, where you're not getting paid. It's usually with new fashion designers who are looking to build up a brand. That's what you call building up a brand. They have a tangible thing like this. It's like this shirt, okay, whatever the brand may be, that they're calling it, and they want it out there. So they're either creating their own magazine or they're trying to do something. They got to pay something at some point, because we do actually mention that they still have to pay for travel to get there and things like that. But as far as the job is concerned, we're doing it pro bono. And basically, they are providing an outlet. There's an agreement where my models that, or the models that the collaboration are working with, because I can't really say my at this point, but SL Models and Talent Agency LLC and its affiliates now are able to bring in new faces under these terms and conditions to be able to do their portfolio work. Why? Now this might hurt a little bit when it comes to the education part. I will be honest. For those who do run their agencies as a school, I still don't understand that. But in any case, our collaboration, the affiliates of SL Models and Talent Agency LLC, we kind of moved on from that situation, and that things are going to change. But the idea, the issue with this right now, with other prospective agencies that want to work with SLMTA and its affiliates, is that I have it so good now that you don't even have to even train a person to know how to do a photo shoot. Because the pro bono, the only thing that you would base it, well, actually that's not true. Let me back that up. That's being a little bit too sassy. You still want to give some clarification and training as to how the shoots work and things like that, and how to model. And the reason for that is because even with pro bono, they can still deny that person just because they don't have the. I'm just talking about as far as spending money for a portfolio shoot. You'll get paid to actually go down or up or over or wherever to do the work that is needed by that fashion designer. But in the end, since you're not getting paid for the job, in the end, you get the copy of your portfolio that you had with their designs. So it does pay for itself. And that's what we are looking to do in that regard. So I actually want to back that out when I say that it really kills the education part, because that's not true. The education part really educates and trains the model in knowing how to do the walk, knowing how to what different looks you will have for different styles and different things like that. And they might include like a portfolio shoot or whatever. That, I mean, whatever is included with their training. But what I would probably recommend, and this even includes you Cameo models if you're listening to me, an idea that could actually help these entertainment industry trainers is maybe set your system or platform up where you can sell memberships to your training and then lower the price on your why? Because you will get more effect by what you're selling for your training than if you were stuck at one set price. You could still have the classes set up the same way. But what I'm thinking that could actually help you guys that are set up this way is have a membership fee to your I don't know, model college or whatever you want to call it. And then that will actually eliminate why they would have to spend $1,000, $1,500 or whatever up front. And I've already explained about the convention. The convention, since some of them are nonprofit, I think there's only one out there, to be honest, that I know of that's nonprofit. That is convention, okay? Not an association or union or any or guild, but an actual convention. Now that's a whole nother category that I won't even go into right now. That there are different business terms when it comes to conventions versus associations. Yes, because people are getting all of this wrong. The associations can set up a convention, but it doesn't necessarily have to be nonprofit. The convention could be for-profit while the association runs as nonprofit. The nonprofit could be the foundation if we're paying the people to come to the convention. So instead of you asking for the agencies to pay you money, you could be paying them to go out there to you. Because it's that important. And that's actually what I like about Cameo Models too, with how she does things. She has it so set up, that agency has it so set up that the hotel, everything is paid for. Like, she takes care of the agencies that are coming in. Were there mistakes along the way? Sure, whatever. That's bygone. But the reality is, or what has been learned of, is that the agency was able to take care of the people coming in, the agencies coming in, the representatives. But I really, really, really think that this could actually be a membership thing. that you can set up on a yearly basis or what have you. And then you give them the choice, hey, look, we're going to be having these classes. They start at this such and such a date. Boom. Done. The reason that I wanted to share this, I know it's a very long video right now. The reason that I wanted to share this video is because, A, I want you to understand that I am here for the agencies that are really trying their hardest to do what is right. I am here for the new faces whom I'm pleading to take on the opportunity and have the possibility to be seen. But I am going to be honest, as far as I know, this is how I see it. Unless I see something else in the comments or I get a ring later. The way that I see it is that SL Models and Talent Agency LLC is going to be heading the booking division, which is going to be an affiliation to Cameo Models International. And I am going to advertise this as soon as I actually get more information about it and the links and everything. I'm going to add them down below. But right now, from what I understand, the members will be paying $75 for the application, and it's $275 to compete. And it will happen in Richmond, Virginia. Maybe things will change and it'll be a little bit better come next year, because I have some ideas that will blow your mind, let me tell you. And the success will be there right from month one. I'm talking about from December all the way up. Discover Me Showcase is like, it is the battleground for the beginnings of pro talent. And I want to bring this up right now. Let go of the ego. Do not allow rejection or failure to despise you from what you are doing. So what? You didn't make top model this year? Try it again next year. Figure out what the problem is. Fix that. Do not get stuck in your way thinking, well, that person ain't got nothing special. Why are they getting it? This is about SL Models and Talent Agency LLC is about unleashing the artist within and letting your light shine. So if you're going to dim it with like jealousies or expansions of ego, it's not going to work. It's going to be the biggest rejection and failure that you have in history. Why? Because then you're going to be thinking, they're all after me. And then you're not ever going to ever get nowhere. And of course, everything's going to look like a scam, and all these messages are going to pop up like, oh, they didn't this and they didn't that and this and that and the other thing. Let me tell you something. I don't work with negative egos. I don't. I've been there and done that. I know exactly what I'm talking about when I'm talking about negative egos. I love the people that I work with, and as a matter of fact, just recently, even with that one Zoom call with Cameo Models and Talent, I consider them as family already. They are very special talent. They have done what they needed to do to become where they are today. This is your chance now. Listen to how they did it, and you do that. This is your chance to be the top model. You want to talk about opportunity and possibility? This is your chance. And Renee, if you see this message, which I'm sure you probably will, I want you to know that I am willing, as a professional, as far as arts administration goes, I am willing to train these folks in the way of how to be professional and how to let go of ego. And I'm even willing to actually surprise you with another video, if you would like, as an advertising video that relates to everything I just said, because I would like you to share this information. And anyone else that really knows what I'm talking about and actually is sincere about catching the scammers and letting go of their ego and trying to run the business the way it's supposed to be ran. We have to let go of all this past junk, the garbage. And if it simply wasn't for you, I'm not afraid to even tell you that. I will tell you that, you know, even if it's as simple, and I know this is going to sound rude for some folk, there is a difference between curvy and plus size, and there is another difference between being actually fat and not taking care of yourself. I can see the difference, believe me, because I'm in that realm right now, and I'm actually in the process of taking care of myself. So do I classify myself as a model? No, but do I classify myself as an arts administrator? Yes. I know exactly what I'm talking about. So I would definitely suggest other means before I would even communicate about something else, which is even different from this. And that would actually be coaching on a personal level with individuals on how to become successful. Because that is really what is necessary here. I'm a highly spiritual individual as well. So when it comes to ego, and believe me, I have been through one of the worst, horrific ego trips I've ever been in. It's called the spiritual ego. And believe me when I say that it was a really horrible trip, I'm not kidding. I can give you that story sometime. Not right now, because I'm not really connected. I'm more or less disconnected right now with explaining everything. But you need to know Psychology 101 at the very least, and need to understand ego and how to let go of it. And to know that rejection and failures is your friend. And that's why some people, you know, I'm not going to lie, some people actually don't like me when I be giving them business coaching sessions, when I'm actually letting them know that if you are like, if you're going to do it like this and you're going to do it like, I dig right into it, right in the dead center. It almost sounds like an ego, but it really isn't, because down deep inside, in some of these folks, I even will go home sometimes and actually tear up. And then I actually cry out to God with the hope that they got some part of this message. So it is extremely, extremely important that you actually accept failure as a way to success. I even have people telling me, even when it comes to relationships. Well, in the beginning, when I was dealing with the spiritual ego, it would be more or less like, how are you going to tell me that this relationship was going to work, and when I didn't even see it within the first week that it would? Now, you know what I basically tell them? Without any promises whatsoever, I would just flat out say, look, I don't see it working. And if you're lucky, okay, and we're talking about if you believe in luck, but even if you're trying to be blessed about this matter and you want this relationship to work, here's A, B, C, D, E, F, G that you're going to have to work on. And then they just flat out disappear. You know, I give them the hour consultation, but you know, it's up to them what they want to do with it. I can't chase them down and try to like manipulate some abracadabra sequence or anything with it. It's just what it is. And I have to accept it. That's no failure on my end. That you know, every time that I see it that way now, I look at it as, okay, I hit home. Let's just wait for them to get home, and then maybe I'll see them again. And that's how I handle that situation in the now. That's how I handle that situation. So this is where I'm at. I know that I threw a lot of information, and I know that there's been a whole lot going on, but I really do enjoy giving information, helping industries out. I also, I I love the people that I work with, and it is very important that we focus on the collaboration. And the next video that I'm going to be doing is going to be, the next couple will be more of improvs. So they'll be a lot shorter than this hour and almost 2 hour video. But I really, really want you to enjoy those videos. I'm going to do some improvs and have some fun, just so that way then you can actually see the line of work that I'm doing. I also want to try, and I don't know if it'll happen tonight, but I want to try to upload a YouTube video of me. I'm going to practice my deeper voice, and I want to sing somewhere over the rainbow or something to that sort, with the ukulele being played. And I want to like try to work that into the video. I might have to do that through Zoom and then just upload it or something. And then I also want to do a video of me singing the A section of La Shoquille Pianga, with also the English translation of it, because it's a special song. It's been there, and I want to give you the story behind it, which that one could actually be a long story, a long video too, but I don't think it will be 2 hours. But it's my story of what had happened 7 years ago in my life. Speaking of professionalism, where I have actually broken, well, again, we all grow up and we all learn, right? But I have learned that, well, in these past 7 years, I have learned that I cannot force situations to happen. I have to learn who I'm relaying information to, and know that I trust them. And that if I have any situation pertaining a particular person, that it is okay to allow my emotions or my feelings to be heard to the person whom it relates to, because that can hurt much deeper than even a double-edged sword. And so there are many different stories to how you want to hear this particular situation, but I have to really tell the story because it's the only way that I honestly know how to let it out, my side of the story of what actually happened. But I'm going to improv it so that it doesn't look so like there will be no names, there won't be no nothing. It's just going to be me improving the person with myself. It's going to be a little bit weird, but you'll get the idea. It will be about a 30 to 40 minute soliloquy of just me improving what really actually happened, but then I want to end it or begin it or something with that song La Shakio Pianga, because it literally means so much. And I'm going to leave it with this. The reason that this story still hits me where it is today. Now, I had people judge me, trying to say, no, it's your ego, you didn't let it go, and all this. But no matter how much I tried to do anything with this, the biggest thing that I have realized is that you cannot let your heart fool you. Now, could I be confused about what the heart is actually saying? Yes, that could be a whole nother story. Okay? That's a whole nother story. But that has nothing to do with the fact that my heart doesn't know what it is saying or what it could want or whatever the case may be. And that's why I say that when you listen to your head, sometimes you wander off and you're all over the place. But when you listen to your heart, it will give you the answers. But the thing is I think right now it's the 7 to 8 year anniversary of this grudge that either this particular person has on me, and that I believe in a way that I have on this individual as well, that now it needs to be shined in the light. I think it's the appropriate time to do so, because I am now releasing all of these negative energies that pertain to the past, that I now need to focus on, because I'm moving forward. I'm moving forward. I'm starting the school that I wanted to do. The conservatory isn't quite there yet, but the vocational school is going to gear me to that. I'm helping pro models now. I have a lot of stuff on my plate. This is the least of my worries, but while I have the time, I would really like to do it. And I want to try to do it in an interesting way where it'll be a little funny for you guys too. So I don't want it to be a boring like sob story as to why it is happening. But I want you to see exactly what's going on. And that if for any reason this individual happens to see that video, he could also understand that what my eyes No, I don't mean my eyes as in your way of thinking of stalking, but my eyes in the way of the chakra. I can sense everything that is going on, and you can literally be like, whoa, how does this person know anything? Even if you could even try to prove to me that I was stalking to get this information, who in the world would actually be wanting to tell me something as deep as that? So get ready for this very interesting improv because it will it will blow your mind exactly what has happened. And this is my side of the story. And for those of you that may know exactly what had happened, well, here you go. Now you got a chance to actually know what really happened. But also, what I'm doing now has nothing to do with what happened in the past. And that's how I'm going to leave that. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and definitely yell at me if you need to in the comments below. That's one place to go. And you can like this post if you feel that this very long, exclusive 2-hour special had bored you, excuse me. Woo! All right. Till the next time, keep posted here with SLMTA for more updates. Next video coming soon.